Dear students, myself Dr. Narendra Ryali, Assistant Professor, PG Department of Commerce and Management Studies, VSM College Autonomous, Ramachandrapuram. Dear students, I would like to explain you in this video about the business cycles. I would like to explain you about business cycle. What is the meaning of a business cycle? The period of high income output and employment has been called the period of expansion, upswing, or prosperity, and the period of low income output and employment has been called as contradiction, recession, and downstream. Let us now see the meaning of a business cycle. Generally, every cycle has its own ups and downs. So, then what is the business cycle? The current view of mainstream economics is that business cycles are not cycles. They are random shocks to the economy and thus are not cycles. But basically what is business cycle? John Keynes explains that the occurrence of business cycles is the result of a fluctuations in aggregate demand which bring the economy to short-term equilibriums that are different from full employment. According to Investopedia, a business cycle are type of fluctuations found in the aggregate economic activity of nations. Business cycle is the business cycles are a type of fluctuations found in the found in the aggregate economic activity. So, business cycles are a type of fluctuations found in the aggregate economic activity. A cycle consists of expansions occurring at about the same time in many economic activities, followed by general recessions. So, this sequence of changes is recurrent but not periodic. That description from Magnum by Arthur F. Burns. Business cycles are marked by alteration of the phases of expansion and contraction in aggregate economic activity. So, uh, if you observe the essence of the essence of business cycles are marked by the alteration of the phases of expansion, alteration of the phases of expansion and contraction in the aggregate economic activity. Yes. So the essence of business cycles are marked by alteration of the phases of expansion and contraction in the aggregate economic activity, and the co-movement among the economic variables in each phase of the cycle. The aggregate economic activity is represented by not only real, that is inflation adjusted GDP, but also the aggregate measures of industrial production, employment, income, and sales, which are the key coincident economic indicators. So, here you have observed two words. In a business, when we call it as an expansion, so when we observe upswing or prosperity, high income, high income, output, and employment. When in a business, when there are high income, high output, and also high employment. In this situation, we call this as expansion or upswing. On the other side, we have contraction. Here, the period of high income, output, and employment are called expansion. So, in the same way, the period of low income, low output, and low employment are known as contraction. The economic history of the free market capitalistic countries has shown that the period of economic prosperity or expansion alternates with the period of contraction or recession. So the contraction is also known as recession. These alternating periods of expansion and contraction in economic activities has been called as business cycles or also trade cycle. A noteworthy features about these fluctuations in economic activity is that they are recurrent and have been occurring periodically in a more or less regular fashion. Therefore, these fluctuations have been called as business cycles. It may be noted that calling these fluctuations as cycles means that they are periodic and occur regularly. Though perfect regularity has not been observed, they are known as cycles. The duration of a business cycle has not been of the same length. It has been varied from a minimum of 2 years to a maximum of 10 to 12 years, though in the past it was often assumed that fluctuations of output and other economic indicators around the trend showed repetitive and regular pattern of alternating periods of expansion and contraction. However, actually there has been no clear evidence of very regular cycles. Now let us see the phases of business cycle. What are the phases of business cycle? You have expansion or boom, or you may call it as upswing, or also you may call it as prosperity. And the second cycle is peak. This peak is known as upper turning point. The third step is known as contraction. It is also known as downswing or recession or depression. And the fourth cycle is trough, that is lower turning point. The four phases of a business cycle have been shown like in this figure. On the x-axis you have time, on the y-axis you have GNP. Yes. Now, if you observe from the origin, this is trough. Trough means lower turning point. It is the starting stage. From this, it is going to expansion. And this is peak, and this is contraction, and again this is peak, and this is trough. With the revival of economic activity, sorry, the four phases. With the revival of economic activity, economy moves into expansion phase, but due to certain causes, expansion cannot continue indefinitely, and after reaching the peak, contraction starts. In this way, cycle is complete. However, after remaining at the trough for some time, the economy revives and again a new cycle starts. So upswing, upper turning point, and downswing, there is a lower turning point. So this is all business cycle. So now let us see the features of business cycles. First one, periodical. Business cycles occur periodically. Second one, synchronic. Here, business cycle is synchronic in nature. In nature, they do not cause changes in any single industry or sector, but are of all embracing character. Depression, for example, depression or contraction occur simultaneously in all industries or sectors of the economy. Third one, fluctuations. It has been observed that fluctuations occur not only in the production but also in employment, investment, consumption, etc. The fourth one, investment and consumption of durable consumer goods. Durable consumer goods. So here the durable consumer goods are what? The investment and consumption of durable consumer goods. The immediate impact of depression and expansion is on the inventories. Immediate effect on inventories. And the next feature is uncertainty. So during another important feature of the business cycles is that the profits fluctuate more than any other type of income. Because of that, it is uncertain. So these are all the features of business cycle.